Have you ever wondered if the guy you've been spending time with is secretly harboring feelings for you? Maybe he's been giving off subtle signals that leave you second-guessing. Does he like me? Or am I imagining things? Ladies, let me tell you something, it's not your imagination. Most men won't come right out and say, "Hey, I like you," especially when they're unsure how you feel. Instead, they communicate through quiet actions, tiny gestures, and the occasional slip-up. But here's the real problem. These signs are so subtle that many women miss them entirely. Here's the truth. Men who secretly like you reveal themselves in ways that psychology has long understood. These behaviors aren't random, they're rooted in human nature. Imagine knowing these signs so well that you can spot them instantly, and even better, use them to steer the relationship in the direction you want. That's the power we're going to unlock today. So think about it, how often have you heard outdated advice like, if he likes you, he'll make it obvious? That's a myth. Attraction isn't always straightforward. Stoicism teaches us the importance of observing actions over words, and this is especially true in dating. If you've been wondering whether that special guy is into you, this guide is your golden ticket to understanding his secret signals. In this video, we'll dive into 5 undeniable signs that a man secretly likes you. By the time we're done, you'll not only know how to spot these signs, but you'll also understand what they mean on a deeper level. Let's start unraveling the mystery, shall we? Stick with me until the end, because the final sign is one most people never expect, and it might just change how you see him forever. 1. His body language gives him away. Ladies, let's talk body language, because the truth is, men can't hide their attraction when their bodies are doing all the talking. Ever notice how his feet point toward you when you're in the same room? Or how he leans in just a little closer when you're speaking? These aren't coincidences, they're subconscious signs of interest. You see, body language is the unspoken language of attraction, and men are particularly terrible at hiding it when they're around someone they like. Research has shown that when a man feels drawn to someone, his body instinctively tries to close the gap between them. This doesn't mean he'll outright invade your space. He's more likely to lean forward slightly, tilt his head when you speak, or even find excuses to touch his face or adjust his hair. Now, let me ask you this. Have you caught him mirroring your movements? Maybe you crossed your legs and moments later he did the same. Or perhaps you leaned on the table during dinner and suddenly he mirrored that posture. This behavior isn't random, it's called mirroring, and it's one of the clearest indicators that someone feels connected to you. His subconscious is saying, "I want to be in sync with you." But here's where it gets interesting. Men who secretly like you often show nervousness through their body language. Pay attention the next time you're close to him. Does he fidget with his phone, play with his watch, or rub his hands together? These little movements are his body's way of managing the adrenaline rush he feels in your presence. Now, don't be fooled into thinking he's always smooth and confident. In fact, stoicism in dating can sometimes mask these signs, as some men try to appear calm and composed, even when they're feeling butterflies. But even the most stoic dating behavior can't hide the unconscious signals. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine you're sitting across from him, and he can't stop glancing at your lips while you talk. Or maybe he's sitting with his knees pointed directly at you, even in a group setting. These actions are intentional, even if he doesn't realize it. His body is betraying his emotions, and you're the object of his attention. So, how can you test this? The next time you're together, make a subtle movement, adjust your hair, pick up your drink, or lean back slightly. Watch how he responds. If he mirrors you or adjusts himself to stay physically aligned with you, you've got your answer. And let's not forget about eye contact. A man who likes you will often hold your gaze just a little longer than necessary. It might feel intense, or it could be fleeting and shy, but either way, it's deliberate. If his pupils dilate while looking at you, yes, this happens. It's a physiological reaction to attraction. Here's a question for you. Have you ever noticed these signs in someone before? Maybe you shrugged them off, thinking they were just being polite or friendly. Now that you know better, who comes to mind? Drop a comment and let me know. I'd love to hear your stories. In summary, his body language is the ultimate giveaway. From mirroring your movements to leaning in during conversations, the way he positions himself around you speaks volumes. Pay attention to the little things, because sometimes his actions are telling a story he's too afraid to say out loud. Stay with me, because if you think this was revealing, wait until you hear the next sign. It's one that most women completely overlook, and it's a game changer when it comes to understanding how men think. Let's keep going. 2. He remembers the small details about you. Have you ever shared something with someone, maybe just in passing, a favorite coffee order, a random story about your childhood, or even an offhand comment about how much you love rainy days, and they not only remembered it, but later brought it up at the perfect moment? That's no accident. When a man secretly likes you, his brain essentially becomes a sponge for the details of your life. Here's a little psychology for you. Studies show that we naturally pay more attention to the people we're emotionally invested in. For a man who likes you, even the smallest details about you become significant. Why? Because remembering them gives him the opportunity to show he's interested in who you are, and it's also his subtle way of standing out from other people in your life. Think about it. Has he ever remembered a random snack you mentioned liking and casually brought it to you? Or has he been the only person in your friend group to wish you luck on an important meeting you briefly mentioned last week? That's not just good memory, it's intention. It's him showing you, without saying it directly, that you matter to him. Let's talk about why this is such a powerful sign. Most people don't truly listen. They hear the surface of what others say, but they don't dig deeper. But when a man likes you, he listens, not just to your words, but to the emotions behind them. Did you casually mention how hard it was to find time for yourself last week? He might later suggest a fun, relaxing activity that shows he's thinking about your well-being. Ladies, here's where it gets exciting. Remembering the little things isn't just about attraction, it's about emotional investment. When a man pays attention to the details, it's because he values your happiness and wants to be someone who adds to your life in meaningful ways. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever had a man surprise you with something small but thoughtful? Maybe he remembered your favorite artist and sent you a song he thought you'd like, or he noticed when you were feeling down and randomly texted to cheer you up. If this has happened, it's not just kindness, it's attraction in action. This brings us to a subtle but important point. His efforts to remember are his way of trying to connect with you. Men often struggle with direct emotional expression. Thank you, societal conditioning and stoicism. So they rely on actions to communicate their feelings. That's why these small gestures carry so much weight. Let me give you an example. Imagine this scenario. You're casually chatting with a guy about your dream vacation. You mention, almost jokingly, how much you'd love to visit Greece someday. Weeks later, out of the blue, he sends you a link to an article about the best places to visit in Santorini. He's not planning a trip yet, but he wants you to know he's paying attention. And let's be honest, how often does this level of attentiveness happen? Here's another telltale sign. When a man likes you, he doesn't just remember facts about you, he remembers how you made him feel. He might not recall every word of your conversation, but he'll remember how your laugh brightened his day or how passionate you sounded when talking about something you love. Those are the moments that stick with him because they're tied to his growing feelings for you. Think about this for a moment. How does it feel to be truly seen, noticed, valued? When a man remembers the little things, it's his way of saying, I see you, I care about you. And here's the kicker. He probably doesn't even realize how much he's revealing about his feelings. His actions are instinctive. They're driven by his desire to know you better and to make you feel special. So, how do you spot this sign in action? Start by paying attention to his responses. Does he light up when you talk about your favorite hobbies or passions? Does he reference things you've said before in a way that feels natural, not forced? These are clear indicators that he's mentally cataloging the things that matter to you because they matter to him. But what about the shy ones? Some men, especially those who lean towards stoicism in their approach to relationships, might not openly express their interest. Instead, They'll show it in quieter ways, like remembering a minor detail about your favorite book and mentioning it months later. These subtle gestures are just as meaningful, if not more so, because they show thoughtfulness and care. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but isn't it possible he's just being polite or a really good friend? Sure, that's always a possibility. But let me ask you this. How often do your other male friends remember the little things about you in such a consistent, intentional way? If this guy stands out, there's your answer. Ladies, let's get interactive for a moment. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the psychology of attraction, take a second to like this video and comment number 1 below to let me know that you're loving the content so far. Your feedback helps us keep delivering content that speaks directly to you, and trust me, there's so much more to uncover in this journey. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that button now so you never miss another video packed with insights like these. Now back to the magic of the details. One of the most underrated signs of interest is a man's willingness to go out of his way for you. Maybe it's as simple as remembering that you're always cold and bringing you a sweater, or maybe it's taking note of your favorite flowers and surprising you with them after a tough week. These actions might seem small, but they're anything but random. They're his way of building a bridge of trust and connection. Let me leave you with this thought. When a man remembers the little things about you, he's telling you, in the quietest yet most powerful way, that you're important to him. These moments of attention and thoughtfulness are his way of stepping into your world and hoping you'll let him stay. So, what's your experience? Have you noticed a man in your life who always remembers the little things? Do you think he might secretly like you? Share your stories in the comments. I'd love to hear how this plays out in your lives. And here's the best part, we're just getting started. The next sign we're diving into is one that will completely shift how you understand his behavior. It's a game changer, and I promise you don't want to miss it. Let's keep going, shall we? 3. He finds ways to spend time with you. Have you ever noticed how some men seem to magically show up where you are or always have time to hang out, even if their schedules are packed? This isn't just luck or coincidence, it's a deliberate move. When a man secretly likes you, he will go out of his way to be near you, find excuses to talk to you, and create opportunities to spend time together. Let me tell you a secret. Men aren't always the best at expressing their feelings directly, especially when they're unsure about how you feel. So instead of telling you outright, "Hey, I like you," they'll opt for the next best thing, being present. If he's always around, even when he doesn't necessarily have to be, it's a major sign that he's into you. Think about it. Has he ever volunteered to help you with something, even if it's something small? Maybe he's offered to carry your bags, fix something around your house, or help you with a project. These aren't just kind gestures, they're his way of being useful to you. Men are naturally drawn to opportunities where they can feel needed or appreciated, especially by someone they admire. Now, let's dive deeper. Men who like you will create reasons to spend time with you, even if they're subtle. Maybe he invites you to a group outing but makes sure to sit next to you, or he'll suddenly take an interest in an activity you enjoy, like joining your running group or coincidentally showing up at your favorite coffee shop. These actions are his way of being close to you without making it obvious that he's doing it on purpose. Have you ever had a guy suggest casual plans that feel a little too perfectly timed? For example, he might text you something like, "I was just thinking about going to that new burger place, want to join me?" Or, "I'm heading to this concert tonight. I remember you said you like this band, want to come?" These aren't random suggestions, they're strategic. He's looking for ways to spend time with you in a way that feels natural but is loaded with intention. Now let's pause for a moment, ladies. If you're enjoying this video or article so far and feel like it's helping you decode his signals, don't forget to like this video and comment number 1 below to show your support. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button now so you don't miss the rest of this series. Trust me, there's so much more to uncover. Okay, back to the fun part. Sometimes men will even rearrange their lives to make time for you. Maybe he normally has a packed weekend, but suddenly he's free when you're available. Or perhaps he's not really into hiking, but he's willing to join you on the trails just because he knows it's your thing. These sacrifices might seem small, but they're incredibly telling. A man who doesn't care about you wouldn't go out of his way to make these adjustments. And here's something fascinating. Even Stoicism, which values self-control and emotional discipline, doesn't erase the human need for connection. In Stoic Dating, a man might try to appear calm and composed, but his actions, like making time for you, will reveal his true feelings. Even the most stoic of men can't hide their desire to be around someone they like. Let's talk about the shy ones for a moment. Some men, especially introverts or those who lack confidence, might not outright suggest spending time together. Instead, they'll accidentally bump into you or linger longer in conversations, hoping you'll pick up on their interest. Have you noticed a guy who always seems to be in your orbit, even if he's not saying much? That's no accident. Here's an example. Imagine you're at a party and he doesn't necessarily stick by your side the entire time, but he keeps finding excuses to talk to you. Maybe he comments on the music, asks if you've tried the snacks, or just gives you a warm smile from across the room. These small moments add up to a bigger picture. He's making an effort to stay connected, even in a crowded space. And let's not forget about texting. If a man likes you, he'll find reasons to start conversations, even if they seem mundane. Hey, do you know the best place to get coffee around here? Or what's the name of that movie you mentioned? Might sound like casual questions, but they're his way of keeping the dialogue going. Here's something fun to think about. How many times has a man gone out of his way to see you, talk to you, or even just spend a few extra minutes with you? Maybe he's not being obvious about it, but his actions are saying, I want to be near you. And let's not overlook the physical closeness. Men who like you will often find ways to be near you, even in subtle ways. Maybe he always chooses the seat next to you or positions himself so that he's in your line of sight. These are subconscious ways of staying connected, and once you start noticing them, they'll be impossible to ignore. Here's a question for you. Have you ever had a man who always seemed to show up at the right time, offer his help, or just linger in your presence a little longer than necessary? Did it feel like more than a coincidence? Share your experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear how this plays out in real life. Before we wrap up this section, let me leave you with this thought. When a man makes time for you, even when it's inconvenient for him, he's telling you something important. His time is one of the most valuable things he has, and he's choosing to spend it on you. Remember, actions speak louder than words. If he's finding ways to be around you, it's because he values your presence in his life. And that's one of the most telling signs of all. So what do you think? Have you noticed this behavior in someone you know? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to hit that like button if you're enjoying this deep dive into the psychology of attraction. And of course, subscribe so you never miss another insightful video like this one. Ready to keep going? The next sign is all about nervousness and playfulness, two behaviors that reveal far more than most men realize. Trust me, it's going to be a fascinating ride. Let's dive in. 4. He acts nervous or overly playful around you. Have you ever noticed a guy behaving differently when you're around? Maybe he seems a little jittery, stumbles over his words, or even gets a little too playful, teasing you at every opportunity. If so, take note. This is one of the most classic signs that a man secretly likes you. Nervousness and playfulness are his brain's way of handling the emotional chaos you're causing inside him. Here's the thing about men. Many of them aren't wired to process intense feelings smoothly, especially when it comes to attraction. When they're around someone they like, it can trigger a mix of excitement, adrenaline, and sheer panic. This cocktail of emotions often manifests in ways they can't fully control, like clumsy jokes, fidgeting, or even uncharacteristic boldness. Let's start with nervousness. Have you ever seen him suddenly lose his usual cool around you? Maybe he's the confident guy in the room, but when it's just the two of you, he's suddenly tripping over his words or struggling to make eye contact. That's not because he's shy, it's because he cares about what you think. In his mind, he's replaying every word he says, worried about coming across as awkward or unimpressive. Here's a fun fact. Nervousness is a biological reaction to attraction. When a man is near someone he likes, his heart rate increases, and his body releases adrenaline. This fight or flight response can make him act fidgety, tapping his foot, fiddling with his phone, or playing with his hair. These small, unconscious behaviors are his body's way of processing the stress, in a good way, of being near you. But what about the playful side? For many men, humor and teasing are their go-to tools for dealing with attraction. If he's always making jokes around you, especially ones that gently poke fun, it's a sign he's trying to grab your attention. Playfulness allows him to test the waters and see how you respond, all while hiding behind the safety of humor. Think about it. Has he ever teased you about something silly, like the way you pronounce a word or your obsession with a particular TV show? Does he grin like a schoolboy whenever you playfully push back? This dynamic isn't just fun, it's his way of building rapport and creating a bond. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're at a casual get-together and he's standing nearby. When you enter the room, he suddenly starts cracking jokes louder than usual, almost like he's putting on a little performance. Or maybe he teases you about something you're wearing, but his smile is a little too warm, his tone a little too soft. That's not just humor, it's interest wrapped in playful banter. Now, here's the kicker. Men who are secretly into you often swing between nervousness and playfulness. One moment he might be stumbling over a compliment, and the next he's teasing you about how terrible you are at trivia night. These shifts aren't random, they're his way of managing his feelings. But don't be fooled into thinking all teasing is playful attraction. The key is in his tone and body language. If he's smiling, leaning in, and his eyes are sparkling with excitement, he's flirting. On the other hand, if his teasing feels mean-spirited or makes you uncomfortable, it's not a sign of attraction, it's a red flag. Let's talk about blushing for a moment. Men don't blush often, but when they do, it's usually because they're feeling self-conscious. If you catch him turning red after you compliment him or make eye contact, it's a clear sign that you're affecting him in a big way. Here's another fun observation. Watch how he acts around other people versus how he acts around you. If he's generally laid back but suddenly becomes a bundle of energy in your presence, it's a dead giveaway. Or if he's the jokester of the group but gets quiet and serious when talking to you, that contrast says everything. Now, let me ask you this. Have you noticed a guy who always seems a little extra when you're around? Maybe he laughs a little too hard at your jokes or finds excuses to make fun of your favorite band. Could it be that he's into you? Drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, don't forget to like this video and comment number 1 to show your support. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. There's so much more to uncover about the secret language of attraction. Let's talk about one of the most surprising signs of nervousness: silence. Not every man will become a chatterbox or jokester around someone he likes. Some will go in the opposite direction, suddenly becoming quieter or more reserved. This isn't because they're uninterested, it's because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. For example, imagine you're sitting next to him at a work event or a social gathering, and he seems unusually quiet. But when you catch him out of the corner of your eye, he's sneaking glances at you, or he suddenly perks up when you start talking to someone else. His silence isn't disinterest, it's nervous energy. Another thing to watch for is how he reacts when you touch him, even casually. Maybe you brush his arm while laughing at a joke, and he suddenly gets flustered, or his voice catches mid-sentence. These tiny reactions are often the most telling because they're completely involuntary. Ladies, let me ask you this. How does it feel to know that your presence alone can make someone so nervous, so playful, or even so silent? You hold more power than you realize. Recognizing these signs can completely change how you approach dating. Instead of second-guessing his feelings, you can start seeing the truth that's written all over his behavior. Here's an experiment you can try. The next time you're with him, tease him a little. Maybe make a playful joke about something he's wearing or something silly he said earlier. Watch how he reacts. If he leans into the banter, teases you back, or gets a little flustered, it's a clear sign he's into you. Let me leave you with this thought. Nervousness and playfulness aren't just signs of attraction. They're signs that you're having an emotional impact on him. He's not nervous around everyone, and he doesn't tease everyone the way he teases you. These behaviors are unique to you, and that's what makes them so special. What do you think? Have you noticed these signs in someone you know? Does he act differently when you're around? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experiences. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this deep dive into the psychology of attraction, like this video and comment number 1 to let me know you're loving it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is the perfect time. There's so much more to learn, and trust me, the next sign is going to blow your mind. Let's keep going. 5. He shows extra support and attention. When a man secretly likes you, his care and attention for you will go far beyond the ordinary. He'll find ways to show you, through his actions, just how much he values you. Support and attentiveness are the quiet heroes of attraction, subtle yet powerful signals that a man is invested in your happiness and well-being. Let's start with the obvious. Men who secretly like you will prioritize your needs, often without being asked. This could be as simple as him noticing that you're having a bad day and stepping in to help, or as significant as rearranging his own plans just to make sure you're okay. But here's the fascinating part. He won't always make a big deal out of it. Instead, he'll quietly be there, offering help, encouragement, or even just a listening ear when you need it most. Have you ever had a man surprise you with how much he supports your goals? Maybe he asks about that promotion you're going for or cheers you on in your hobbies. Perhaps he takes a genuine interest in the things that matter to you, whether it's your career, your family, or your personal dreams. This isn't just politeness, it's his way of saying your happiness is important to me. Here's a powerful insight. Men express their feelings through action more than words. If he's secretly into you, he'll often show it by being reliable and attentive in ways that might go unnoticed at first glance. Does he go out of his way to make sure you're comfortable? Offer to drive you home even if it's out of his way? Stay up late just to talk when you're having a rough night? These gestures aren't random, they're his heart speaking louder than his words. Let's talk about how he pays attention to the things you don't even realize you need. Maybe he notices that you're always cold and brings you a blanket without you asking. Or he remembers that you have an early meeting and texts you good luck before it starts. These moments of thoughtfulness aren't just kind, they're incredibly telling. Here's something to think about. How often do people really notice what you need without you having to spell it out? Not very often, right? So when a man does, it's a clear sign he's tuned into you on a deeper level. He's not just hearing you, he's truly listening. And let's not forget about emotional support. Men who secretly like you will often step up as your biggest cheerleader. Whether you're tackling a challenge or celebrating a win, he's there rooting for you. Does he encourage you to go after your dreams or remind you of your worth when you're feeling down? That's not just friendship, it's a deeper connection. Here's an example. Imagine you're venting about a tough situation at work. Instead of just nodding along or giving generic advice, he really listens. Maybe he offers thoughtful solutions or reminds you of your strengths in a way that feels personal and genuine. This level of attentiveness is his way of saying, I care about how you feel, and I want to help. Now let's talk about how he reacts when you're going through tough times. A man who likes you won't just disappear when things get hard. Instead, he'll step up and find ways to make your life a little easier. Whether it's offering practical help, like running errands for you, or simply being there as a steady presence, his actions will speak volumes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Men who like you will often go out of their way to protect you, even in small ways. Maybe he walks you to your car at night or stands closer to you in a crowded room. These instinctual actions are his way of showing care and concern for your safety. Let's not overlook the subtle ways he tries to brighten your day. Does he send you a funny meme when he knows you're stressed? Or surprise you with your favorite snack after a long day? These gestures might seem small, but they're loaded with meaning. He's not just being nice, he's thinking about you and making an effort to show it. Ladies, if this sounds familiar, take a moment to think about the man in your life who always seems to be there for you. Could it be that his support and attentiveness are more than just friendly gestures? Drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear your stories. And don't forget to like this video and comment number 1 if you're enjoying this deep dive into the psychology of attraction. And of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Trust me, there's so much more to learn about understanding men and their emotions. Here's another interesting behavior. When a man likes you, he'll often look for ways to make your life easier, even if it's inconvenient for him. Maybe he takes on extra work to help you meet a deadline or offers to pick you up when your car breaks down. These moments aren't just about being helpful, they're about him showing his commitment to your happiness. And let's not forget about how he responds when you're in a group. If he's always the first to notice when you're uncomfortable or the one who checks in to make sure you're okay, that's a major sign he's paying closer attention to you than anyone else. Here's a question for you. How does it feel to have someone genuinely support and care for you, not because they have to, but because they want to? That's the kind of energy you deserve, and recognizing it can completely change how you view the men in your life. In Stoic dating, actions are everything. Men who value stoicism might not always express their feelings verbally, but their consistent, thoughtful actions reveal their true intentions. If he's always there for you, quietly supporting you without expecting anything in return, it's a sign of genuine interest. Let's wrap this up with a powerful takeaway. When a man goes above and beyond to show you care and support, it's not just about being nice, it's about connection. His actions are his way of saying, "You matter to me," even if he's not ready to put those feelings into words yet. So what do you think? Have you noticed this kind of behavior in someone you know? Do you think it could mean more than friendship? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how this plays out in your life. Ladies, you've just uncovered the secret language of attraction, the small yet powerful ways a man shows his interest without ever saying a word. From his body language to his playful teasing, from remembering the little things to creating time for you, and finally, to his unwavering support and attentiveness, each of these signs reveals a deeper connection. But here's the real beauty of it. Once you start recognizing these signals, you'll see that love and attraction aren't always about grand gestures or dramatic confessions. Sometimes it's the quiet, consistent actions that truly speak the loudest. These moments, no matter how subtle, show you who values you, who sees you, and who might be waiting for the right moment to share their feelings. Now let me ask you this. Do you see these signs in someone in your life? Has his body language, attention to detail, or quiet support been trying to tell you something all along? If so, what will you do with that knowledge? Will you wait for him to take the next step, or will you take control of your own romantic destiny? Here's what I want you to do next. If you found this video helpful and eye-opening, like this video and comment number 1 to let me know which sign resonated with you the most. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another deep dive into the mysteries of love and attraction. Remember, relationships aren't about guessing games, they're about connection. The more you understand these signs, the more confident and empowered you'll feel in navigating the world of love. Because ultimately, Stoicism reminds us to focus on what we can control, our awareness, our actions, and how we choose to respond to the signals we receive. Thank you for being here, for investing in yourself, and for taking the time to unlock these truths. Until next time, I wish you love, laughter, and the confidence to pursue the relationship you truly deserve. See you in the next video.